2022 Endurance E-Racing World Championship brought to you in partnership with Viper Gaming by Patriots, Aztec Sports, Global Fleets, Motorvision.tv, Stengol, ESTV and Film Vault Limited.
A 1v2 for the tournament. Pressure is on.
Racing for Green is here to help you carbon neutralize your racing. By planting new trees, Racing for Green offers to make your racing carbon neutral. We already have the calculations, contacts, infrastructure, deals and solutions ready for you to easily buy carbon neutral laps on any racetrack. It doesn't matter if you are a racing fan, team owner, driver, sponsor or partner. Anyone can buy CO2 neutral laps in the Racing for Green webshop and trade CO2 emissions for New Forest. Racing for Green.
Well, good morning everybody and welcome along to the GTR24H E-Racing Endurance World Championship 12 Hours of Matsusaka morning show. And if you join us after that, bit of a hectic qualifying session yesterday, dry through both sessions, but a couple of lap times that really stood out. Building up then for the race later on today. We've got qualifying results, we've got a bit of qualifying analysis, myself, Kieran McGinley and Yusuf bin Sahel bringing you through all that we know heading into the race in just a few hours time. Yusuf, I mean, we were just there for the nighttime session. What did you sort of make of the whole qualifying session day?
It was pretty good fun and we got to see our teams and drivers pushing to the absolute limit for the very first time as well. I think the interesting thing was that we saw a few teams actually going a little bit faster in the nighttime session than in the day session, and that was not something that we were expecting. We'll see whether they can translate that over into the race, but overall we are seeing that there are some good fights to be seen in every single class. Sure, when you look towards the likes of the GT3 class, that fight might not be for first, but there are still fights for everyone and fans of every class to keep an eye out for.
Absolutely, and we'll just dive headfirst into what we know for the DPI class. We know that the number 80 Burst Esports Simplexity car is on pole position for the DPI class. The 64 Maradnis E-Stars car in second place. Third place on that DPI grid is the number 11 79 Axle machine. 17 of Unison Racing in fourth place. Team Adrenaline in the 33 machine in fifth, and Team Viaductant rounding off our 6 hyperclass machines. First off, Burst Esport in the day qualifying session. I mean, we're going to be talking about Michi Hoyer's lap for a long time.
I think we'll be talking about it next year. You know, if Matsusaka's on the calendar next year, we're going to get into qualifying and we're going to be like, right, Michi, we want to see that 142 once again. That is if the DPI will still be a car in 2023. Of course, we have no idea what the cars will be for next year. But it was an incredible lap from Michi Hoyer. Hopefully, actually, at some point today, we'll be able to get that lap up and have a look over it, because it was a ridiculous lap by Michi, and whether he can replicate that, no idea, but it has to be, I'm sure, one of the highlights of his sim racing career.
Definitely one for the scrapbook in that case. It was a fantastic lap, and Yusuf and I just saw the tail end of the qualifying session just as the track was getting to its best in the session. And I mean, you go out there last, or you leave your best lap time till last. Well, in theory, you've got the best track because it's evolved over the 2 hours in the session. You have less fuel in the tank, just to be sure, fresh set of tyres, and you can pull out a 42 just like that. I mean, that lap must have been near perfect. I mean, no lap could ever be perfect. No. You can't achieve a 10 out of 10 lap, but it's pretty close, I would say.
Yeah, and you hear that from drivers, and yesterday I kind of likened it to how sometimes you get those majestic laps, you know, laps of the century from the likes of Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen, Sebastian Vettel, Senna in years gone, Schumacher as well. And every now and then you'll hear them say, that was the perfect lap. That was it. There was no more. And we spoke to Michi Hoyer a little bit at the end of qualifying one, and I wonder for him if he thinks there was any more time, because one of the cool things about racing, and this is for sim racing and real racing, but you get the delta. You can see, you know, where you're finding the time, and you'll be going through a corner, you'll have a little glance up and you'll realise, okay, I've gained time. So I wonder for Michi if he ever glanced up and thought, oh, there was another 1,000th there, or another 100th.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, drivers will be always self-critical of themselves. They'll always say, oh, there was definitely another 10th in there, regardless of whether there was a 10th in there or not. They'll just say that because they don't want to admit, no, that was my limit. That's all I could get out of that machine. So, yeah, great to see the 6 DPI class cars will be taking to the grid there. Not much to separate in terms of Maradnis. I mean, in the nighttime session, they put on, a closer show. They were within sort of 0.3 of a second of the number 18 machine, Burst Esports Simplexity. But, I mean, looking at the daytime session, there was a world of difference there, wasn't there?
Yeah, and I think it's quite fun as well when you look at the Maradnis daytime qualifying session, exactly the same as the nighttime session for Burst Esports. So there's not a lot of difference in their pace. I mean, the difference in their pace is literally just the grip level between day and night, which is not a lot. However, we do have to remember that's qualifying. That's how far you can push in qualifying. We saw a lot of drivers, and this is not just talking about Burst Esports Maradnis. This isn't just talking about the teams towards the lower end of each class. We saw from everyone a lot of mistakes that can be made. Turn 1 being one of those key points. The other one actually being down into Degna 1, Degna 2, because of the amount of commitment you have to be able to have. The question is, come the race, can they find that consistency? Because, well, when it comes to a raw limit, it doesn't look like Burst have the upper hand.
Yeah, at this moment in time, and it'll be interesting, as you say, once we get into the swing of the endurance race over the 12 hours, how will that pace look? Is it good enough for a stint? Because at that point you'll have race fuel, you'll have to look after the tyres rather than just get every bit of rubber off the tyre in making your great lap. So we will have to wait and see what the race strategy, what the race setup will be on the car, but nevertheless, should be great to see Burst Esports Simplexity and Maradnis E-Stars battling for the top spot in DPI. And if we look a bit further down, we've got the likes of 79 Axel in the 11 machine, the 17 Unison car, bit close between them. On the average lap time, about half a second between them, so that's looking like it's going to be an interesting battle for third place.
In the DPI class.
In the DPI class,
sorry.
yeah.
I was just checking at 79 Axel, and then I saw the LMP2 car out qualifying the DPI car, so it threw me a bit, but I think this goes back to what we were saying about the fact that there are lots of different battles, and it's not just at the top end. So in the DPI class, as we've already mentioned, Burst against Moranis, that's our 2-horse race, what we're expecting to be for the championship. But then we go further down, and Axel and Unison could also be these two that are battling against each other furiously, because when you look at the average times, you think, okay, there's half a second between them. But then you look to the individual times. Daytime qualifying Axel, they out-qualified Unison by over a second. In the nighttime session, Unison out-qualified Axel. So we don't know if there was an issue for Unison racing that affected them in that opening qualifying session. It's a long qualifying session, 2 hours, so a lot of time to get your lap in. So maybe Unison were still trying to tinker with the setup. Maybe they just performed better in the night.
And a team that did perform better in the night was the 33 Team Adrenaline Machine, nearly a tenth of a second better in their nighttime session than in the daytime. And a couple of teams, as you've already mentioned earlier on in the morning show, going quicker in the night than in the day. It's a bit odd, that one.
Yeah, and I mean, Adrenaline went faster in the night, Unison went faster in the night, Viaductin went faster in the night. So half of our DPI cars went faster in the night, so it's a bit bizarre there. And honestly, the only thing that I can really think of that explains this unknown phenomenon is maybe the fact that they just got more track time, they got more used to the circuit. But other than that, I can't. Maybe they just got a clear lap, because we talked yesterday about how difficult it is here at Matsusaka. Relatively tight track, short track as well. You can get caught up in traffic very easily, and maybe they just found the clear lap and they hooked together their lap on their clear lap in the night, whereas maybe in the day they made a few mistakes during their clear lap.
Yeah, and of course, what the car is set up for is it better set up to the lower temperatures, both air and track. That could be an element that they would need to look at and take advantage of if that will be the case. Team Viaductin, 6th place there, looking to get some good experience off the bat in the first race of the season. So let's have a look then at the LMP2 class, and well, Burst Esport, top of the DPI class, their top again of the LMP2 class, starting from the front spot in the LMP2 classes. Then it's the 15 Juices Motorsport Club car, second in class, the 21 Sem9 Axle machine in third, the 77 car Team Iris in fourth place, the 164 Satellite Racing machine in fifth, and the 241 Cyberlinks Racing machine rounding off the 6 LMP2 cars. Burst Esport then, top of the DPIs, top of the LMP2s. They're looking pretty good for this race.
Yeah, I thought once we got rid of Varga from last year, you know, LMP2 would be close, but Burst have just jumped in and just taken that spot off them as the top dog in the LMP2 class. And maybe once again we're going to be getting this 4-5 way fight for the second spot in LMP2. That being said, long season, maybe the likes of Juice's Sem9 Axle can close that gap, but right now Burst's just looking really quick. And when you remember that it's the likes of Michi Hoyer, Jone Simonchik and Jesper Pedersen at the wheel, is going to be a very tall order to beat them, not just for the race but in qualifying as well.
Definitely, they're going to be a team that's looking to try and convert their class pole into a class win, so keep an eye on them for the race. Also a good battle that looks to be on the cards between the 15 Juices Motorsports Club car and the 21 Sem9 Axle. On the average lap time, when we added the day and the nighttime qualifying session, divided it by 2, those two cars separated by 0.02 of a second. That is mightily close for that battle for second in class.
And they're the two closest cars on the entire grid. There's no average time that is closer than those two. Sem9 Axle, they had the upper hand in the daytime qualifying. Juices, though, managed to take it by 0.04 of a second in their second qualifying session. That 44.12, if that was a 44.16, they would be starting behind Iris.
It's mightily close. We're talking about the fine margins going into qualifying. We did speak yesterday during the nighttime qualifying session about how critical, especially in the opening hours, your grid position heading into Matsusaka. It's a very tricky place to get overtakes done.
Absolutely, and one of the big things is going to be once those LMP2s, those DPIs close in onto the GT cars, that's when things start to get tough. We always wonder how much battling are we going to see in the early stages of a race, and we tend to say, oh, it's an endurance race, they'll be nice and chill towards the start. But every time these bloody gremlins prove us wrong, and they're out, they're battling from the start, because at the end of the day, they're racing drivers. They love to race, and you can't take an opportunity away from them.
No, you definitely can't. And as you rightfully said, you would tell the drivers it's an endurance, but they treat it like a 12-hour sprint race. It's just never going to be the case, is it? You're never going to get it into their heads. It is an endurance. Take it easy. They don't know take it easy. It's not a phrase that exists.
Easy?
No, it's just a phrase that doesn't exist to them. I think they know take it and easy, all separate words,
Yeah.
but put them together, no, don't know. Absolutely no idea what it means. But
Yeah, maybe they thought it was like overtake it easy, and they're like, okay, we'll go for the overtake.
yeah, make it look easy.
There you go.
They understand that one, but we digress. Also, Team Iris, the 77 and the 164 satellite racing car. You said before that the gap between Juices and Seb Line Axel was the closest we've seen on the grid, 0.02 of a second. Between Team Iris and satellite racing is a massive 0.04 of a second.
It's huge. It's a canyon between them. And remember yesterday I was asking, okay, what is going to be our class to watch? And as usual, we looked at GTs and we said GTs. And once again, the LMP dudes are coming in and saying, hey, look, we've got this cool four-way battle going on for second place. Come and look at us. And honestly, go and watch. Well, I say go and watch. Watch the stream, which will be covering the LMP2 class along with our 3 other classes here in the Endurance Racing World Championship. But it is very close, and you're talking from Juices in second with their average qualifying time all the way down to Satellite in 5th, 0.2 of a second.
Yeah, on average, 0.2 of a second. Mightily close for that battle in LMP2. And I think that's a reminder to the likes of Burst Esport in the LMP2 class. If you put a foot wrong, any one of those teams behind you could really take advantage and make you pay.
Absolutely. I'm just taking a look at the times, because there's always... I'm essentially looking from 2nd to 5th, the fastest time to the slowest time, and this is looking at the different sessions. And I've realised that 79 Axel, they put in a blistering time in the daytime qualifying session, to the extent that they were only a 10th off Burst Esports good ass sunglasses. 43.74, very, very quick, but in the nighttime session, struggling, and they were the slowest of all of the cars, of those top 5 LMP2 cars in the nighttime session. So I'm not sure if Axel struggling. We talk about the setups that they have, maybe not quite well tuned for the night, but maybe something to watch out for come the race.
Definitely, and as we said, you know, with the day and the night, there's going to be 2 different types of track that the drivers are going to have to face. And also you get to the point of nighttime drivers. How many nighttime drivers, how many drivers do you have that feel comfortable racing under that pitch black sky do you have to get yourself around there? And that's just as important as setting up your car for the correct conditions.
Yeah, and it's always weird. I brought it up yesterday, the fact that we would eventually at some point be talking about the whole nighttime versus daytime, who likes driving in one condition versus the other. Maybe is a case for Axel that they don't have anyone who feels comfortable. I can't remember who we were talking to, but we were interviewing, or I think Alex might have been interviewing someone who was talking about the whole driving at night and the fact that yes, you can see, but you can't see far ahead into the distance. And as a result, I don't really think it makes much of a difference when it comes to raw pace. What it does affect is the whole awareness. If someone has a mistake further up the road, you can't really see it, you can't prepare well for it. And when it comes to multi-class racing, you need to be aware of your surroundings. You need to know, okay, there's this car there, I want to be catching him here, I want to be lapping him in this spot, not in a corner. So sometimes you lift off a bit earlier to try to get a good run out of a corner rather than being stuck behind them.
Definitely. So LMP2's definitely ones to watch, especially from that battle second downwards. That's assuming Burst Esports Good Our Sunglasses are going to run away with it. That's never 100%. We'll have to wait and see in just a few hours' time. Let's talk now GTE, the first of our GT runners then. Top of the class there, the 74 Juices Motorsports Club car. Very consistent is the only thing you can say between their day and nighttime qualifying sessions, and that's half the reason they're top of their class. The 67 Mugen Sim Racing car in second place, the 54 Mustang Pescara car in third, the 53 sister car in 4th place, the number 45 DIS Sim Racing Lab Machine in 5th, with the 717 of Unison Racing in 6th place, the 27 car of MCM Motorsport in 7th, the 166 ID Sim Sport Machine in 8th place, and the 264 Satellite Racing car didn't set we can't see a lap time set in either session. That means they'll be starting from the back of the grid. So Yusuf then, Juice's Motorsport Club starting the new year, on the new season, on the right foot.
And they looked really, really good as well. Very quick in both of the sessions, top of the standings in both sessions as well. So Juices are looking in fantastic position to start the season, looking to start it off with how they left off in Le Mans last year, winning in the GTE class, winning in the LMP2 class as well, but in the LMP2 class they're second to, because Burst have decided to join, which I'm sure Juices are very happy about.
I'm sure.
Yeah, in this GTE class, we were expecting it to be a bit closer, but what we have to remember, and I really want to stress this, is this does not determine the season. While you could almost say it for the LMP2, the DPI class, and say this is a showing of how these cars will go for the season, GTE is multi-class in its own right. And when you look towards the likes of Juices, I'm just double checking, they're running in the Aston Martin. You've got BMWs, you've got Porsches, you've got a Corvette. All of these cars will have different strengths and weaknesses, which different tracks will be able to highlight. So maybe just here at Matsusaka, it's a circuit that suits the Aston Martin better than other tracks.
That's going to be something that we will be talking about throughout the season, throughout each round, sort of trying to pick out, this car's doing well here. Is this a sign for how their weekend's going to go? We don't know, but what we can say is Juice's Motorsport, I mean, so consistent in both sessions. Their times 0.02 of a second between each other from day to night. It's immensely consistent.
Very consistent, very impressive as well. One of the other things we're going to have to keep our eyes open for is how far can their fuel tanks go relative to the likes of the Porsche and the Corvettes. I remember last year when I was speaking to, I think it was Tiziano Brioni after the Sebring race, back when he was still racing with Musto. Sadly, Tiziano not racing with Musto, or as we should say, the Musto Pescara ADG car. He was essentially saying that Sebring was a nightmare because the BMW just couldn't do anything against the Porsches in a straight line, so they'd catch up and that's it. So, well, Juices, they're not in the Porsche. There are a few Porsches. The Porsches for the Musto Pescara team, so maybe that's going to be an area where Musto Pescara can gain an advantage.
We have to wait and see. I mean, they're both starting 3rd and 4th place, but Mugen Sim Racing, that number 67 machine, splitting Juices and Musto in twain, and again, pretty consistent qualifying session. They're one of the teams that went quicker in the nighttime session. I mean, you know, Mugen, well, you could say one of the favourites to try and top this GTE class. There's a lot of drivers and a lot of teams here who could really make that push to the top of the GTE class, and that's probably one of the reasons, Yusuf, why we've said this is probably going to be the class to watch, because who's on top is anybody's guess at the moment.
And just to take a more outside perspective when we do look towards this GTE class, and the reason why we think it is so exciting, we have our 2020 GT3 champions of DIS racing. We've got our 2021 champions of Unison Racing competing in the GTE class. We've got our 2-time GTE champions of Musto Racing, the 53 and the 54 car, and we know how close those two cars can be in terms of pace. Then on top of that, Juices are racing. Juices have always been quick, no matter what class they're racing in here in the Endurance E-Racing World Championship. They won a race in Le Mans last year. They picked up 2 podiums prior to that. And then we've got Mugen. Now, as we said before, Mugen, they finished 2nd in the GT3 class, but that's not the reason why we're highlighting Mugen, because Mugen still have their GT3 team. This is a team with 2 of their drivers who were in their LMP2 car for 2021, and those 2 drivers, Roland Zux and Zoltan Varkuni, very quick drivers, and it's going to be really interesting to see how they adapt from an LMP2 prototype car to this GT car, and so far it's looking like they are adapting really, really well.
They've adapted, doing a fine job as well, and on average just a 1/10 and a half away from Juice's Motorsport Club across 2 sessions average, so not looking too bad at all. Definitely Mugen have a chance of taking the top spot, but as you say, Juices, whatever car they're put in, whatever class they're competing in, they're always going to be quick.
And let's not forget as well, we remember back to October, however many months ago that was, in the LMP2 battle when Juices were trying to win the LMP2 championship and they needed to finish third or something to be able to jump ahead of Varga, who weren't racing. It was Mugen against Juices. The 15 car was in the distance until the brake failure, and it was the 16 Juices and the Mugen prototypes that were literally side by side, banging, making contact throughout the entire 24-hour race. There was nothing to separate those two, and I really hope that these two teams can continue their rivalry, but no longer in the LMP2 class, both of them in this GTE class.
It's going to be fantastic to watch. So the Musto cars then, 54 car out-qualifying the 53 car. The sort of sister outputs, marginally close together, 0.3 of a second on the average lap time. And it's going to be way too early about team orders. I mean, we saw elements of that at Le Mans at the season finale, understandably so, because it's the season finale. You want the car that's got the most points in your team outfit to have the best chance of scoring the most points at the season finale. One thing we could say is there's probably not going to be a lot of that heading into the very first season. These are going to be two cars and two sets of drivers that are going to say, it should be me, let us go for the top title.
And I'm always really interested by how Musto do this, and the next time I get a chance to interview them, I will ask, because Musto don't feel like a team that essentially say, here are our top drivers, you're going in the top team, this is our second set of drivers, you go into the second set of teams. Because I think both you and I, coming from an F1 back point, when we look at that, the big name that stands out for us is Manuel Biancalila. And that was the case for me when I first came to GTR, and I thought, why is he in the 54 car and not the 53 car? Because he is so quick, and he was the one in the daytime qualifying session for Musto that got that 55.62, that went 0.2 quicker than the 53 car. So I don't know which one of these two teams is quicker, and I think it's going to be a case of go through the season and just see where both of the teams are at, and they're probably going to be taking points of each other. When team orders come into play, I have absolutely no idea.
It's just going to be great. It's absolutely brilliant. I mean, that's just the pedigree of Musto, to put two really good sets of drivers in two different cars and just seeing what happens. Some teams would say, as you said, put your best drivers, your best foot forward in your first car, and then in your second car just say, right, you're going to help us out, or you're going to run your own race and see how you get on. But yeah, with Musto, it just seems to be just throw everything at it and see what happens. It's a great approach.
And with their partnership with Pescara ADG, they've, at least for the 53 car, they've got Eros Masciuli in, or they've got Michele D'Alessandro as well, Marco Massetti. This is essentially taking two quick drivers from both teams and combining them together. And let's not forget, for Pescara ADG, they're not a slow team. We saw them in a few races in EEWC 2021. They took pole in Indianapolis. Very, very quick. I think that was actually Michele D'Alessandro who was able to do that in the opener for 2021. Here in 2022, it looks like maybe that GTE level has just jumped up a tiny bit. The saddest thing about GTE is the fact that we don't have WOSR eyes on performance, because they would be in this battle and it would make it that little bit better.
Yes, absolutely. So we'll put a pin in GTE and sort of discuss that later. We'll be talking about that all day long, I'm sure, Yusuf. It's going to be one of our favourite classes to have a look at. Let's have a look at the GT3 standings then from qualifying. The 82 Mugen Sim Racing machine topping the timesheets in the GT3 class. Then it's the 404 Glam Racing machine in second place. The 585 Volante Racing by Assetec Simsport machine in third. Then it's the 777 DSR Gadget Husit machine in fourth. The number 13 car CKR in fifth in class. The 188 of Telefoningen in that position, and then rounding off the top of the GT3 number 32 B32 Racing, rounding off the GT3 class. And the stark thing we're going to see, Yusuf, which we will discuss in a little bit, Mugen Sim Racing putting a team entry in GT3, and if anybody was surprised, their average lap time is topped by 0.6.
And you know how you were talking about the deuces in the GTE class being like, oh, that's so consistent, 55.14, 55.16. Then you see the 82 Mugen, let me just double check this, 56.48, 56.49. Pretty close.
Pretty close. Very close. Very close. I mean, looking at the GT3 class, you've got average lap times here that are, throughout the second through fifth, I think, separated by about 0.6 of a second. So that's going to be mightily close with the GT3 classes. Plenty of drivers who are wanting to put on a good show. And Glam Racing, we'll have to say, in their Audi, they're looking very much in red-hot form.
Yeah, and, well, for Mugen, absolutely fantastic. Glam Racing doing well. We saw a lot of their prowess last season, able to pick up quite a few podiums, and we'll see whether they can just up it to the next level this year. Beating Mugen is going to be a very, very tall order, because this isn't just the Mugen of last year. Remember, their LMP2 team disbanded. They've made their GTE team, but they also threw one of their LMP2 drivers into the GT3 team as well. Just double checking that. Gabor Hevesi, Martin Merkley joining into the team, partnering alongside Adam Surej and Christopher Kianik. It was actually Christopher Kianik who did the qualifying, I believe, in both sessions for Glam, for Mugen Sim Racing. So we'll see what else they can bring out and how much more pace they have in their team.
Absolutely. We do have a question in our YouTube chat asking us what's our favourite livery in each class.
I'm going to be honest, I haven't seen all the liveries in the classes yet, so if we could get the liveries up on this screen, I would be happy to go over the liveries.
You just take a look
them.
over your shoulder, would you? Just
yeah.
Oh yeah, that looks good.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, all right. Well.
Otherwise, I would just be lying to all of you. What I do know is there is one very good livery. I forget who it is, but they've got a nice anime character. Oh, we've got it, Kieran.
We've got it, have we? Oh yes, there you go. So Team Viducton,
Right.
lovely red. You're not going to miss that Team Viducton car out on the track, really, are you? It's lovely and red.
Big improvement as well to last year, which was just white with an orange shark fin, and then I think before that was just an orange car. So I like this from Viducton. We've got to give ratings though here, Kieran. So
we've got to give ratings.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm going to give this one. I'm going to give a 7 out of 10 because it's just red, but they've done some nice stuff with the fin on the car. As I'm seeing Jon very disappointed. I think he really likes this car. I think he's saying this is a 10 out of 10.
Is he saying 10?
Yeah, he's saying 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Plain red, gonna get a good 7 because he made
Jon
it. That's
made
why.
it. Oh, that's why it's terrible.
Oh right, so he's probably gonna rate it 11. That's probably why then.
Yeah.
Right, gotcha. Okay. We're looking at the Sem 9 axle machine then, the number 11 car, a very striking livery, a good combination of blue, yellow, orange, and I'm a fan of that one.
See, I really like the axle from last year where they didn't have any of that yellow. It was just white, but they've added in this yellow and orange, and I like it. So I think this is better than the Viducton one. I'm going to give this... I'm going to give it an 8.
Because an 8?
I like... So the thing is, I don't think those two liveries essentially match. It feels like they've been like, oh, we like this livery, but we also like this livery, and they've...
No, I mean, you've got like the sort of BAR vibe of late 90s where they tried to enter Formula 1 with two separate liveries, and then the FIA said no. But I'm a big fan of it. I am a big fan of it.
Yeah.
You can see the first entry of the Team Viducton again. 11 out of 10 from Jon in the background. That striking red livery. I'm pretty sure he's at the controls now. He's making this bigger.
He's only letting this Viducton car come up on the screen.
Yeah, he is, isn't he?
I think for every second longer it's on, we drop down its rating by 1 point.
Well, I mean, that's a bit harsh. That's harsh on Viducton. They're not doing that. That doesn't seem fair. But that's the Sem 9 axle machine there in the number 11 machine. Burst Esports Simplexity as well. I was a fan of that one. Unison, when they had their livery last year, they've made some slight tweaks on it this time around. All very I mean, let's just be fair, there isn't a bad livery here. I don't think as much work goes into these liveries as you see there. We'll
see, because there was definitely one livery that I wasn't a fan of, but we've jumped from DPI to the GT3s now. Okay, it's a car, it's got a Brazilian flag on it, and it's got names on the car. Now,
where do you think that team's from?
Portugal.
Do you think?
Yeah, definitely.
I thought that too. There's a very striking resemblance.
I'm just going to say, this is 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10.
I love
That's
the
harsh.
idea of the Brazilian livery, but I think the names were in the wrong spots.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. There's the LMP2 entry of the Juices Motorsport Club. I mean, you come to know it now. The Juices, that's a classic livery among GTR24H. And
we also know how the front looks. It's got that lovely little Juices spade on the front of the car. What do you want to give this one, Kieran?
I mean, it's classic Juices. You know,
it is.
You get what you're given. I think it's a solid 8 from me.
I agree. It's like the Red Bull of Formula One. It's tried and tested. Ooh.
Now Unison have gone for that striking livery. You know, it's a very nice one. I'm a big fan of Unison's livery this time around.
It's almost a galactic look.
It is.
You know what? I think this is my first 9 out of 10 livery.
This is Yusuf.
Yeah.
How you treat us. 9 out of 10 from Yusuf.
Would you agree on that one, Kieran?
It'd be hard to disagree with you on that one. It really would. Yeah.
And usually it's very easy to disagree with me as well.
Yeah, well, as we've so often seen on GTR24H, whenever they let us in the commentary box, there's normally a discussion about something.
Yeah.
There's your Burst Esport 18 Simplexity machine. You know, mix of black, yellow, and sort of that goldish
it's
tint.
Like coffee gold.
Coffee gold.
Is it coffee brown?
Don't name paint colours. That's what I'll say to you, Yusuf. Just stay away from naming paint
You'd be
colours.
surprised. That was my second job choice in school.
It?
Yeah, they were like, "What do you want to do?" I want to name paint colours.
You want to name paint colours?
What were we rating that one? Because I'm giving that one a 5.
I think you're harsh with a 5. I think it's a 6 from me.
5.5.
I thought we were doing what? We're combining our liveries? Well,
no
just like
idea.
in qualifying, we're combining our liveries and dividing by 2. Is that what we're doing now? So
maybe. Can add them together. We can finally beat Jon's 11 out of 10 by deduction.
Absolutely. Of course, the
Have you seen this
79.
before?
Well, no, because this is Axel. Obviously, they've got the branding there. They've got to keep that going throughout.
Okay, this car I like.
Yeah, I think so. The One Move Esports machine, the number 26 car. Yeah, that's a good livery out there.
What would you give it?
I'd probably give that an 8.
See, I'd give it a 9.
You'd give it another 9, Yusuf. Another 9.
I'm also saying this because I remember from last year when I did the roast deliveries with Alex Goldschmidt. I think I gave this a 9. So I'm trying to stay consistent here. Was it a 9, Alex?
I think he gave you the thumbs up to say it was.
Yeah. Okay. What about this thing?
Calling it this thing's a bit harsh. Look, there's nothing wrong with trying a bit of pink in a livery. We've seen that.
I mean, it's like they tried pink and then they diluted it with about 1,000 litres of white paint.
This turned from what's your favourite livery to Yusuf absolutely roasting whatever he can about a livery. But I mean, way to win over the drivers and teams, Yusuf. You're doing great.
I've been told that I've got to be nice about Glam Racing because Maria brought some lemon drizzle cake in, which I'm yet to have.
Wow. So you're just up front about how you've been bribed.
Yeah,
you've just said
honestly, teams, if you're a team out there, if you want to bribe me, that's fine. Drop me a DM.
That's fine,
I'll send you my address. You can send all kinds of goods to me. I'm not below anything.
So that's it. That's the big story coming out of GTR24H this morning. Yusuf can be bribed with cake. Who would have thought it?
Wait, I just realised it was this. That was a One Move Esports car I really liked. Darn it. Okay, B32 Racing. I like that one.
Yeah. Well, instantly, orange and black is a bit of a... Yeah, I like orange and black. It's one of my favourite colour combinations.
Okay, I know what I'm getting you for Christmas now.
Don't tell me. Don't. It's still a secret. It's still a secret. I'm a big fan of that one. That's a 9 from me.
I can agree with that. Good 9. Got a good colour scheme. Goes from that matte chromey black to the orange. Team Adrenaline. It's like trying to do what that previous the Galactic car did, but it's in red, so it doesn't quite work.
Yeah. I think it's again with Adrenaline. It's a striking colour, black and red. Again, it's not a livery you're going to miss out on the grid. That is for sure. So yeah, I think an 8 from me. I do like that livery.
See, I'm harsher on this. I was thinking like a 6.
6?
Yeah.
That's a bit harsh.
Yeah.
I think that is harsh, Yusuf. I think that is.
I agree it's harsh. I could give it a 7. What do we think of DIS? Again, this is another one of those tried and tested liveries, like the Deuces. In my opinion, is not quite as good as the Deuces scheme, but it's still a decent livery.
Yeah, I have to say, like you say, it's a tried and tested livery. We're very familiar with it here at GTR24H. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 7. There's your Musto Pescara, the number 53 car. There's
4.
Well, that's not very nice, Yusuf.
You know why I give it a 4?
Go on.
Because
Explain your working.
The Musto GD livery was beautiful. So when I look at this livery, I look at it knowing what it could have been, and that makes it worse.
So you're judging it on what it could have been rather than what it is.
On what I know it is. On what I know it is without the Pescara blue and white.
That just doesn't seem fair, Yusuf.
I think it does.
You're comparing fantasy to what's actually up here. That doesn't seem fair.
Well, it wasn't fantasy. We literally saw it on the track last year.
Yeah, but that's last year, Yusuf. That doesn't seem fair.
Okay, does that red and black work with the blue? Be honest.
Look, they're trying something different.
See? I mean, you just answered it with the tone of your voice on that response.
Yeah, he's being very spiteful. Is Yusuf today? Really is being very spiteful.
I saw Alex
dear.
in the window. Come on, Alex. What would you have rated that? He's coming back.
He's coming back. He's going to think about it. He's going to think about it. What's it going to be? It's a
Give
7.
that a 7.
It's a 7. 7.5. 7.5.
Okay, right. We don't care about Alex's opinions anymore.
Well, I mean, you seem to be
I'm
having it
get
out
booted
for
out
Alex.
of Denmark soon.
You are. When the number 77 comes around, excuse me. When the number 77 Team Iris car comes around, I do want to have a talk about that one. Because that's okay.
A very what do we
nice
think
one.
of this Mugen 67?
I like it. I really like that
it as
one.
well.
Yeah,
I'm a big blue fanboy.
You're a big blue fanboy.
Yeah.
Who would have guessed?
After what I said about the Musto Pescara car.
Yeah. That doesn't. Something's not adding up here.
Not baby blue.
No, something's not adding up. You're a blue fan, but not that blue.
I'm a Man City fan.
I agree with Alex.
I'm a Man City fan, but I didn't like the baby blue on the Musto Pescara.
I agree with Alex. He's looking at us through the window, just doing a little bit of this. I agree.
I think he was talking about you, to be honest.
Well, he could have been talking about anything. Could have been you, could have been me, could have been who else?
Yeah.
Juice's Motorsport, that's their sort of GT version of their livery. Again, it's classic Juices, although missing a spade. At least on the side.
Is that negative points for Juices? Do they drop one for not having the D spade?
Well, it's a tricky one because it's the Juices Academy, so that might be the deciding or the difference maker.
I do like it though.
Ooh. There you go. This is what I was talking about. Team Iris. What do you think?
This is like if Mace Windu, instead of having a lightsaber, had a car. This would be that car.
Well, Mace Windu wanted, or I should say Samuel L. Jackson, wanted that pink lightsaber because he wanted to stand out. Oh, sorry, purple lightsaber because he wanted to stand out and spot himself. Yeah. Team Iris have done that here. They wanted to spot themselves out on track. Whenever they were on a broadcast, they wanted to see, yes, that's definitely us, and it works.
If there was more of that purple instead of the pink, I would give that a 9.5 out of 10.
9.5?
Yeah,
well,
but because I'm just going to say 8.5. I'm going to say 8.5 for that.
Okay. I mean, that does seem... there's your other Mugen Sim Racing entry.
Another 9.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great livery the Mugen Sim Racing machines have this time around. It's really
if it had Adam Saroshi's face in there with his shirt and tie,
with
I'd
a tie,
bump it up to a 9.5. But it doesn't.
I would have said that if the car itself had a tie somewhere on the car.
Oh my god, that'd be... you could have it around the front, especially for the LMP2 cars. You could have like a little tie brace coming round the windshield and then tie coming down the front.
Yes. Make it happen. That's what we're saying here. Make that happen. Put a tyre on the car. Why not? Just smarten it up. Just smarten the car up. We shall see.
What did you say for the burst car?
You absolutely berated.
Did I say 6?
You went lower. You went 4, didn't you?
No, 4 was Musto Pescara.
Oh, okay. There's your satellite racing machine. That's their good. LMP2 entry there. Yeah. Again, it's a satellite racing livery. It made its mark last season. It's making its mark this time around too.
9 out of 10 for me.
I reckon 8. The Iris machine is very hard to beat this time around in LMP2. Very hard to beat.
I'd agree if it wasn't for the pink.
I don't know. I think it works.
If the pink blended into the purple, I'd say yes.
I think it's no. I think Team Iris, from what we've seen, is one of the best out there in the LMP2. There's your ID SimSport machine, the number 166 in GTE. What do you reckon, Yusuf?
I'm going to give that a solid 8. So it's like going towards a 9, solid 8. I'd give it 8.5. I think is a fair.
Yeah.
Is that what I did last time, Alex? Okay.
So he's very consistent with his.
Just like Deuces.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, brand identity. There's the Telefoningen.
They just stole the ID SimSport livery idea.
Well, no, because first of all, it's white and red.
It's
Different
sponsors. Well, that would
sponsors.
explain it.
That would explain
So
it.
they
There you
did
go.
steal it then.
Well, that's no. You can't say steal anymore, can you?
They borrowed it.
They borrowed it. They borrowed it with no intention of giving it back.
But does it work as well with the white and red?
I think it does.
Yeah.
I think it does. That's two.
give
That's
it-
two solid liveries.
I'm actually going to say a 9 for that one.
You're
I think it's a
9.
little bit better.
Yeah. There's your Cyberlinks.
See,
machine.
okay, now this is what Iris did, but this is better.
Do you
This
think-
is the pink and the purple and the blue. This is my 10 out of 10.
It's a 10 out of 10.
This is my 10 out of 10. Cyberlinked. It's a shame their qualifying performance wasn't quite a 10 out of 10.
Oh, that's that. Yeah, you're kicking them whilst they're down, really. You really are. But yes, Cyberlinks Racing and Team Iris. Very hard to pick between the two. If I had to pick, I'm going to go with the 77 Team Iris.
Okay.
You have
so
got
you're
a
Iris,
l-
I'm Cyberlinks.
You've got a beautiful livery this season, Team Iris.
Yeah.
Very well done.
I do agree
your,
with that.
There's your Satellite Racing 264 GTE
See,
machine.
I think that livery works better on a GT car than it does on the LMP2.
I think, yeah, I have to agree. It does look better on the GT car. I think you're right.
9.5 out of 10.
9.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 9. Glam Racing,
Do
again,
you have to be impartial?
you do have to be impartial.
Okay.
Even with the promise of lemon cake, drizzle cake, you have to be impartial. But it's still a good livery, isn't it?
Okay, this... I'm going to say 7 out of 10.
7?
I like the purple.
Is this factoring in the lemon drizzle cake?
No, this is not factoring
Right.
lemon drizzle cake.
Okay.
Right.
I was going to say, even
This-
if it was, that was really...
This is 7 out of 10. It's just that there's not much going on. It's just like a really nice chrome purple.
Yeah, but sometimes less is more. I'm going to give Glam Racing an
Sometimes.
8.
Okay.
I think an 8.
I just think that your rating system is like more constricted. I'm using up the entire scale.
Yeah, okay. There's Asetek Sim Sports
Good car.
in the number 585. Yeah, it's a striker livery, good livery, I think. I think, Yusuf, we're coming to the end of this show
Yeah.
reel of liveries. We're going to have to pick our favourite. As the last thing we do here, pick our favourite livery from each class.
Okay.
So,
Yes, there we go.
is that your favourite
yes!
for GTE?
Yes, we saved the best for last. Let's go, Unison.
There you go. Is that? I'm guessing that's an 11 out of 10 from you, is it?
No, this is
No?
actually an ooh out of 10.
Oh, right. There you go then. The first ever of that rating. Well done, Unison. Well done.
Thank you. So, do you need me to say what my favourite GTE?
I am going to need you to confirm.
Okay, so favourite DPI. Can we quickly just have the DPIs just roll through?
I think you're asking too much.
Okay, I'm asking for too much.
You're
I have
asking
to try
too
to
much.
remember. Viaductum was good. Adrenaline was decent. Unison, Axel. Oh, that's the last one.
That's the last
7.
Yeah, I feel the...
Wait, no.
It's a nice livery, but with the gadget Husset.dk, it sort of clashes with all
I
of
can't
the-
say 7 because I gave that to Glam Racing, and this is not as good as Glam Racing, so I've got to go down to 6.
It's a nice livery, but I think the writing on the side
Yeah.
is it sort of clashes a little bit with the livery.
Yeah.
It's hard to make out, but that was all of them being rolled through. I think for DPI,
Yeah.
for me, I'm going to pick Unison Racing as the
Mhm.
favourite livery. LMP2, I'm going with Team Iris.
Of course.
GTE, I'm going to go with Mugen. And
Yeah.
GT3, I'm going to go B32.
Okay, so I know LMP2 that my favourite was Cyberlinks, hands down. Well, not hands down, it was quite close between them and Iris, but Cyberlinks get it for me. GTE is obviously Unison Racing. They've put an anime character on it, so it's an auto win.
It's an instant win.
GT3, which was the car that I really like? Satellite Racing. Was it
Mhm.
Satellite Racing? No, it wasn't Satellite Racing. Which was the one with the blue and... Oh no, One Move Esports. Wait, One Move... Which one?
You got
I'm looking at my sheet and I'm not seeing One Move Esports. I'm sure that they've got a GT3 car, One Move Esports was my favourite GT3 car. I'm looking like an idiot now. But then
it's fine. I do it daily. Don't worry about it.
Who had my favourite DPI car?
We did like Unison, if that helps.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, we'll go with. I think it was Unison or Axel. Unison.
Unison.
I think it was Unison.
There you go then. Myself and Yusuf's favourite liveries from the list going all the way
I'll
through.
do that.
Oh, Yusuf, what have you been told from the voice of behind the scenes?
So if anyone wants to see deliveries, you can go to spotterguide.gtr24h.org, and if you do that, you will be able to take a little look at every single livery
and tell us if we were right or wrong. That's going to be the most important thing.
Yeah, okay, so it was Unison for DPI, hands down. LMP2 was a Cyberlynx. Oh, that's really good. Satellite Racing, so for me, LMP2, Cyberlynx, Satellite Racing, Iris. I really like that Satellite Racing livery scheme.
Just want the top one, Yusuf. You're going to have to narrow it down to just the top one.
Well, I said what my top one is, didn't I? Cyberlynx.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
But narrow it down to your top one.
Well, I did, but I also said what my second and third were because I didn't want them to feel left out.
I didn't ask for that.
Okay. GTE. Mugen's decent, but Unison exists, so Unison get it. Then we go down to GT3 for me. Okay, GT3 is between Mugen and Teleföringen. Mugen take it.
There you go then.
Yeah.
There it is, our favourite liveries, and let us know on Twitter, hashtag EEWC, whether we were right or wrong, whether you agree with us or not. It should be interesting to start that conversation. But again, a lot of hard work and effort goes into making these liveries and making sure they look the best they possibly can. And we do all these ratings in very much good faith. And I'm looking forward to getting this season well and truly underway, Yusuf.
Yeah.
In just a few hours' time, in just a couple of hours' time.
It's not far away. I'm looking at my time now. 1:23. We are. Well, no, it's 12:23. We are 2.5 hours. No, 1.5. I can't do maths right now. We're 1.5 hours away. I'm pretty sure.
Yes. Yeah. We're roughly. Let's go with that. Let's go with that.
This is going to be a long day.
We've got 12 hours coming up. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. Don't forget as well, on the GTR website, GTR24H.org, it's pretty much your last chance to have a go at the Fantasy Team Manager as well. Yusuf, you have been absolutely flying out of the blocks this season.
Am I leading?
Well, I don't know. We last checked it last night.
I think after qualifying 1, I think I was leading. Then qualifying 2 happened, and I dropped down to second. So
you are second apparently right now.
Second.
Yeah.
Right. I need to double check who has been evil.
Oh, there you go. I'm in the way.
Drillers.
Hang on. There you go.
Drillers Esports.
And you're second.
Yeah.
With Instagram Racing in third. As you can pretty much see, you get the points, however the team is doing, however your selected drivers are doing, and there's also extra points in there. All details available. Available at the GTR24H.org website, and there you can see the sort of all the fantasy drivers are choosing these drivers. Adam Surej, one of the favourite drivers to include in your fantasy.
I mean, Adam Surej is good, but how is he top? That, especially when Burst exists in the LMP2. I thought this would be an easy Yerne Simonchik pick, but
he's second in that list.
Yeah,
but if you want to, if you do want to,
it must be the tie buff.
Must be, it has to be. If you do want to play along with the Fantasy Manager, give it a go on the GTR24H website and see if you can try and topple that man over there. It's fantasymanager.gtr24h.org. Come and have a go if you think you know your stuff. It'd be great to see you out there. See if you can try and challenge him for the lead. We'll have to wait and see. Yusuf, we've got just a couple of minutes left before we head off for the morning show and maybe head off for a glass of water and see how many people will come for you for the liveries. But, I'm looking forward to getting this season kick-started now.
Absolutely. We've had so much time building up towards this. We've had so much time to see the team sneaking through on the entry list. So we've been waiting so long to announce the entry list as well. Now we've finally seen all of the teams in. We've seen the liveries as well. We've seen the cars out on track for official practice, qualifying 1, qualifying 2, and it is just the race remaining. I'm honestly so excited for this.
Well, let's get our teeth sunk in. It's only about an hour and a half away until we go and start this season proper with the first race, the first round of the season, the 12 hours of Matsusaka. Hopefully you can join us for that one. Not long to go, but we'll be back before you know it to kickstart the EEWC season here on GTR24H. Until then, from myself, Kieran McGinley, and from Yusuf bin Sahel, enjoy the rest of your morning, and we'll see you very shortly.
With Viper Gaming by Patriots, Aztec Sim Sports, Global Flix, Motorvision.tv, Stengolm, ESTV, and Film Vault Limited.
A 1v2 for the tournament. Pressure is on.
Racing for Green is here to help you carbon neutralize your racing. By planting new trees, Racing for Green offers to make your racing carbon neutral. We already have the calculations, contacts, infrastructure, deals and solutions ready for you to easily buy carbon neutral laps on any racetrack. It doesn't matter if you are a racing fan, team owner, driver, sponsor or partner. Anyone can buy CO2 neutral laps in the Racing for Green webshop and trade CO2 emissions for New Forest. Racing for Green.